Perek Yudalad Mishnah Gimel. The next two Mishnayos of this Perek discuss the halachas of refuah on Shabbos. Now, the connection, first of all, between the concept of refuah and that of the previous Mishnah is given by the Tosas Yontov. The Tosas Yontov explains that since Mishnah Beis finished off by talking about mei melach, salt water, which is something which is not normally drunk, but it is after all ingested, so too now the next two Mishnayos are going to be discussing things which are not normally eaten or drunk for regular food, but they're ingested for other reasons, for medical reasons, etc., etc. So that's the sort of the conceptual connection between Mishnah Beis and the next two Mishnayos. Now, by way of introduction to Hilchos Refuah on Shabbos, just a short word. First of all, if a person is Rachmana litzlan chole sheyesh bo sakana, if we're dealing with a situation of pikuach nefesh, then there's no question a person can be mechalel Shabbos and can violate all the 39 melachas in order to deal with his pikuach nefesh situation. That is a Mishnah in Yuma Perek Ches Mishnah Vov. If a person is not in a pikuach nefesh situation, then Chazal made the gezeira of shchika samamonim, that a person should not take medicines on Shabbos, because we're worried that he might come to make the medicine on Shabbos. And in those days, you would make medicine by grinding plants and the like, and there would be a problem of tochim, which is an av melacha. So Chazal made a gezeira of shchika samamonim. Now, if a person was very unwell, even though he was not in a life-threatening situation, but he was considered to be a chole she'ein bo sakana, he's not in a life-threatening situation, but he's got some sort of illness, and that is defined as either nofal la mishkov, he had to go to bed, or he should at least be in bed, or nechlash kol gufay. There are different definitions of exactly what a chole she'ein bo sakana is. His whole body is weak, etc. Then Chazal did not make gezeira against him taking medicine. He's allowed to take medicine. However, a person who is not that ill, he's got a michush ba'alma, he's got a mild headache, or even a regular headache, he's got a sore throat, he's not dangerously ill, he doesn't need to be in bed, then it's considered a michush ba'alma, and therefore he shouldn't be taking any medicine on Shabbos. A gezeira of shchika samamonim. Okay, let's go straight into this Mishnah. Says the Mishnah, Ein oichlin ezoiv yavon b'Shabbos. You're not allowed to eat Greek hyssop, literally ezoiv hyssop on Shabbos, lefi she'eina machal b'riyim, because this is not considered food for regular healthy people. Says the Bar Tanura, Eizov Yavon, min Eizov, it's a type of hyssop, shegidel bein hakoitzim, which is grown amongst the thorns, umeimis hatoiloim shebeme'ayim, and it has the effect that it will kill off any worms in a person's intestines. So it's eaten for medicinal purposes, and therefore no one should be eating this on Shabbos because it violates the prohibition of taking medicine on Shabbos. She'ena ma'achal b'riyim, says the Bar Tanura, umukcha milsa d'lerfuah ochelei, and it's therefore clear that a person is doing it in order to take medicine on Shabbos, which is a problem, says the Bar Tanura, v'osel ochel b'Shabbos gezeira shemeyishchoik samamonim, to have a tolda de toichin, because it comes under the gezeira of shchika samamonim, which is a problem of tochin. Continues the Mishnah. Avol oichel hu es yoezer v'shoseh abuvroeh. He is, however, allowed to eat something called a yoezer and to drink something called abuvroeh. So what are these things? Says the Bar Tanura, Avol oichel hu es yoezer. The harbe oichlin oisoim, because this plant, it's abuv, the yoezer. The article translates as penny royal, it's some sort of plant. This item of food is eaten by regular healthy people. Says the Bar Tanura, the harbe ochlo so kushein b'riyim. It's many people eat it when they're healthy. Yoezeh, says the Bar Tanura, v'hu mechale hatoloim shebekovet. True, it has some sort of benefit, health benefit. It will destroy the worms in a person's liver. But since it's also eaten by healthy people, it's not evident when a person eats it that is eating it l'shum refuah, for medical purposes. Therefore, a person can eat it. And similarly, v'shoiseh abuvroya. What is abuvroya? Says the Bar Tanura, eitz shagidl yechidi. It's an unusual tree, a tree which grows on its own without any branches. Ve'ena anofim, so a single tree coming up without any branches. V'korin oisei barvi atzel roy, and it's called in Arabic, ba'aravi atzel roy. V'hu toiv lemisha nizik hashashos mayim megulim. Says the Bartanura, it's good for a person who has drunk water which was not covered, and we're worried that a snake has poisoned the water. So therefore it's a good antidote to that. But again, since regular healthy people eat it, it's mutter for this person to drink it on Shabbos. Continues the Mishnah. Kol ha'oichlin oichel adam l'refuah. Any food a person can eat l'shum refuah. V'chol ha'mashkin sheisa, and any drink he can drink chutz mimei the kolim v'kois ikrim mipnei shen yiroka. Apart from made the kolim and kois ikrim, which we'll discuss shortly, you cannot drink those because they're mipnei shen yiroka, because they are cures for jaundice, which the Mishnah will discuss shortly. The question, first of all, is why is the Mishnah repeating the phrase which presumably we already know? We know that already. So the Tosfos Yontif from the Gemara on Kuf Yud Amud Aleph in Shabbos tells me the chiddush of this part of the Mishnah. And the chiddush is, a person can eat any food l'refuah that comes to include those food items which, if a person eats them, they have some sort of benefit, but they also have a side effect. So the example that is given is, for example, a person eats spleen, part of the animal. A person eats spleen. Now that's beneficial for the teeth, but it's bad for a person's intestines. Now, since it has side effects, these things are only very occasionally eaten by healthy people. And the chiddush of the Mishnah is that even though they're only occasionally eaten by healthy people, nonetheless, a person can eat them on Shabbos, and we're not worried that people assume that he's doing so l'shum refuah. And so too, when it says kol hamashkin sheiseh, again the chiddush is that even though that healthy people would only occasionally drink these concoctions, whatever they happen to be, nonetheless, it would be mutter to drink them on Shabbos, even if only a few, even the minority of healthy people would drink them. Now, but you cannot drink, or you can't, chutz mimei the kolim v'kois ikrim. Why not? Well, says the Bartanura, chutz mimei the kolim. What is that? Says the Bartanura, hey mishnei ilonos. These are two palm trees, mimine had the kolim, shahoyu be'eretz Yisrael, that were situated in Eretz Yisrael, ubeineihem ma'ayon ma'im, and between these two trees there was a spring of water. And they had very curious effect on a person. If a person would drink one glass from this water, it would somehow cure the zevel, the manure, the waste in his intestines. And if he would have a second drink, then meshalshel, that would loosen his bowels. Menakes b'nei ha'ma'ayim ad she'odom etziyim tzlulim kederech she'echnisam. It would totally loosen his bowels, that he would get rid of all his sort of waste product. Now, so therefore, since that was eaten for therapeutic purposes, or drunk for therapeutic purposes, a person would not be able to drink that on Shabbos. Furthermore, v'koish shel ikrin, says the Bartanura, loikchin sraf ilon shekorin lo ba'aravi zog Alexandra. You would take a certain plant and another plant, the Esav Shekorin Le Aspa, Pirush Esav Shel Simcha, the Kirkum, which is the third plant, the Koichin Oson Venoisnes Ofram Beyan, you mix it with wine, these three ingredients, the Ha'isha Zova Shetishte Mehen, and a woman who would drink this concoction, Gimel Koises Terapet, it would cure a woman who had a particularly long menstrual flow, it would cure her. Now, therefore, since these things were drunk for medicinal purposes, you cannot drink them on Shabbos. But the Mishnah continues, because they also serve as a refuah for jaundice. Says the Bartanura, Ba'alei Choli Hanikri Yarko, and some sort of illness which is called jaundice. Im Yishta Mehen Yerapim Mecholi HaYirakon. It will cure you from jaundice. Avul Yisha Oka V'lo Yolid. But Rahman al has a terrible side effect. The side effect is that it will make a person sterile. He wouldn't be able to have children. And therefore it's called a kais ikrin. So the Mefarshim explain that it depends. That if a woman who has a very heavy menstrual flow, then if she mixes these three things together, and she mixes them together with wine, then it would not have any side effect. It would address the problem of having a heavy menstrual flow, and it would not make her sterile. However, we still call it the koshen ikrin to warn other people of its undesirable side effect. That's how the Tosfos Yom Tov learns. Now, if the Gemara says, however, to cure jaundice, a person would only have to mix together 2 of these 3 ingredients that the Bartanura mentions. The Bartanura says you mix together the 3, but if you'd only have 2 of them together, then it would cure jaundice, if they would mix them together with beer. Now, however, if it was mixed in this way, it would cause a problem of kosik, it would cause the problem of sterility. So the Gemara questions the problem. How can we advocate, how can we condone taking these sort of concoctions which are going to cause sterility? So the Gemara concludes that we're specifically talking about a woman and not a man, because a woman is not mitzuvah in pruruvu. A man, of course, is mitzuvah in pruruvu. He is commanded to have children, and therefore a man may not take this potion because he's forbidden to make himself sterile, and therefore with this to advocate taking this would only be specifically for a woman but not for a man. Okay, continues the Mishnah. Avol sheisehu made to kolim letzimoi, v'soch shemen ikrin shalul refuah. A person, however, could drink made to kolim letzomo. If this made to kolim that we mentioned previously, he's allowed to drink it out of pure thirst. The Bartanura says, so long as as long as he's not a chola, he's not sick. But if he's a chola, then he shouldn't be drinking it. But a person who's not sick, and if he wants to drink it out of thirst, to quench his thirst, that would be acceptable. Other Mefarshim say that even if the person is a chola, he can drink it, so long as he is doing it to quench his thirst and not for therapeutic or medicinal purposes. And concludes the Mishnah, V'soch shemen ikarin shalul refuah. A person can anoint himself with oil which has been mixed together with roots of spices and herbs, so long as it's not for medicinal purposes. Since it was common practice for a person to anoint himself with these things to keep the skin soft or whatever it is, then it would be acceptable to do so using these oils in liquid forms on Shabbos, because it was not deemed, it doesn't sort of violate the halachas of refuah, because this is normal practice. That is the end of Mishnah Gimel.